My past keeps haunting me.
Your past explains you. It never defines you.
I keep chasing money.
Build your mindset first. Money always follows value.
My dream feels impossible.
Impossible is just a challenge waiting for your courage.
What if I run out of time?
Then stop waiting. Start living your purpose today.
People keep saying I'll never succeed.
Successful people don't ask permission. They prove people wrong.
So we usually think of hesitation as just doing nothing, right?
Yeah, like a neutral state.
Exactly. We frame it as taking a pause, catching our breath, maybe just gathering our thoughts before making a move.
Right, just avoid.
But the source material we're diving into today, it argues that hesitation isn't a pause at all. Like not even a little bit.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Right. It argues that it's an aggressive, active drain on your mental energy. It's actively destroying your potential.
It completely inverts the standard definition of it. I mean, when you hesitate, you are not resting.
Right.
You're actually deploying your cognitive resources to stop yourself from doing what you already know you need to do.
And that perspective shift, that's exactly why we're analyzing this specific text for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one.
Because we aren't looking at, a traditional academic paper or some peer-reviewed psychological study today.
No clinical trials here.
No, not at all. We are looking at something incredibly raw. It's this electrifying, highly visceral, motivational transcript from speaker Eric Thomas.
And, on the surface, the text reads like pure adrenaline.
Oh, absolutely.
It's loud, it's demanding, and it is aggressively confrontational. But
there's a lot going on underneath.
Exactly. When you move past the volume and really dissect the arguments being made, you find a deeply structured philosophy.
Right. It's not just someone yelling at you to work harder.
No, the underlying framework is actually rooted in established psychological principles, things like human agency, cognitive load theory.
Deliberate practice, too.
Right, and cognitive behavioral reframing. The speaker is just using a much more urgent vocabulary to describe all these scientific concepts.
So our mission for this deep dive is to decode this anatomy of high achievement. We want to take this raw energy, this absolute fire hose of accountability, and translate it into actionable intellectual insights.
Which is necessary because reading through this transcript is jarring.
It really knocks you back in your heels.
It does, but the moment you process the mechanics behind the message, it becomes instantly clearing. It strips away, the usual matrix of excuses we all build up.
And the stakes he sets up for this conversation are about as high as they get.
Yeah, life or death. Sure.
Literally, the central question pulsing through every line of this text is, why do some people let pain become their tombstone, marking the spot where their potential died, while others turn that exact same pain into a scar?
Using it as proof of life.
Yes, using it to build something extraordinary.
And to answer that, the source material suggests we really have to start at the micro level.
Right, before grand visions or legacy.
Exactly. Before we talk about multi-million-dollar businesses, we have to look at what stops you in the very first second of the day.
Which brings us right back to hesitation.
Right, and he roots this in a very grounded definition of consistency. He defines consistency simply as having a goal, waking up on a day when you absolutely do not feel it.
Which happens to all of us.
And doing exactly what you told yourself you were going to do anyway. He explicitly states that success is not a feeling, it's a mindset.
Right, and he argues that the human brain can't do two things at once. It cannot hold two opposing intentions simultaneously.
Right, it just can't.
So when you wake up, remember your goal, but then hesitate to get out of bed, you are actively using your energy to stop.
Redirecting your brain's processing power, yeah.
You're taking it away from execution and pushing it toward the creation of friction.
Well, to understand the mechanics of this, we really need to look at cognitive load theory.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So the human brain consumes a massive amount of the body's energy. Roughly 20% of your daily caloric intake is used just to run the hardware.
Oh, wow. Just to keep the lights on.
Exactly. Now, your working memory, which is where you hold information you're currently processing, it has a strictly limited capacity. So when you hit a moment of hesitation, you're flooding that working memory with a complex, completely unnecessary decision matrix.
So instead of just tying my shoes to go for a run, my brain is suddenly running a supercomputer simulation.
exactly the opposite of a neutral pause.
Right.
You're weighing the physical comfort of your bed against your long-term cardiovascular health. You're simulating future regret if you don't run.
You're rationalizing excuses about how busy your day is.
Yeah, and all of that computation maxes out your cognitive bandwidth. You are exhausting the very energy required to actually do the task before you even begin it.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure.
Because evolutionary biology would suggest hesitation is a survival mechanism. Like if I'm walking through a forest and hear a rustle in the bushes, hesitation is the calculation that keeps me from getting eaten by a bear.
Right, the fight, flight, or freeze response.
Exactly, it's hardwired into us. So when does healthy, calculated hesitation turn into this toxic cognitive friction you're describing?
That is a crucial distinction. See, the evolutionary freeze response is designed for immediate physical threats in an unpredictable environment.
Like a predator.
Right. It's an instinctual delay to gather more sensory data, to see if the rustle is a bear or just the wind. But the hesitation the source is criticizing occurs in a completely different. We're talking about executing on goals you have already calculated, evaluated, and deemed important.
I see. So the data gathering phase is already over.
Precisely. If you spent 3 months writing a business plan, running all the numbers, and determining that making cold calls is the necessary next.
Hesitating before picking up the phone is the survival mechanism.
No, it is self-sabotage. There is no bear.
Right.
You're just deploying cognitive energy to build a wall in front of your own stated desire.
It makes me think of driving a car. We tend to conceptualize hesitation as just, taking your foot off the gas pedal.
Like coasting for a second.
Exactly, coasting. But what this text is arguing is that hesitation is actually keeping your foot slammed to the floor on the gas while simultaneously pulling the emergency brake with all your might.
The internal wear and tear of that action is massive.
It really is.
Yeah.
The engine is redlining, the transmission is burning up, the tires are screaming, but the car isn't moving an inch forward.
Yeah.
You're literally destroying the internal machinery of your ambition by trying to go and stop at the exact same time. The speaker says, when you're hesitating, it means you're using energy to stop.
You're actively starving your potential.
Exactly.
And that internal wear and tear, it manifests physically.
Oh, for sure.
When you live in a constant state of cognitive dissonance, knowing what you should do, but constantly negotiating yourself out of it, you generate chronic stress.
Just flooding your system with cortisol.
Right. And it's not from hard work, but from the anxiety of inaction. The source demands that you clear your mind of everything stopping you.
He notes that people often fail because they're listening to voices that have no business in their ear, right?
Yes, allowing external doubts to fuel this internal emergency brake.
So if you're listening right now, consider your own daily friction. What are you actively spending energy not doing?
That's a great question.
Where in your life are you redlining the engine with the emergency brake pulled tight? Because the text insists that in a landscape of opportunity, hesitation is fatal.
It demands that you identify the very first task that feels uncomfortable today, attack it, and force yourself through it without that destructive pause.
But overcoming that initial hesitation is only the first layer, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if hesitation is the brake destroying the engine, you eventually have to look at the mechanic who keeps pulling the brake.
And this brings us to a significant transition in the source material.
Yeah, let's get into the inner work.
He argues that external fixes, new productivity apps, better alarm clocks, different business strategies.
All the hacks.
Right. All the hacks are entirely meaningless if the internal architecture of the person using them is fundamentally.
He calls this doing the inner work. He gives this stark warning. He says you have to do the inner work so you don't build with one hand and tear out with the other.
And that is a brilliant description of the mechanics of self-sabotage.
It really is.
Because you can have periods where you conquer hesitation. You can grind for 12 hours, secure the funding, build the relationship. But if your internal narrative is rooted in a sense of unworthiness or a deep-seated victimhood, your subconscious will view that success as an anomaly that needs to.
Oh, wow. So you'll subconsciously destroy it.
You will find a way to dismantle what you just built. You'll snap at the wrong person, you'll mismanage the money, or alienate your support network.
Just bringing your external reality back into alignment with your broken internal state.
Exactly.
And the text offers a profoundly uncomfortable solution.
It's very intense.
He shares this highly personal anecdote about standing in front of a mirror. He describes looking at his own reflection and realizing that the hardest thing he ever had to do was tell himself that he was sorry.
Yeah.
He says, you owe yourself an apology. You owe yourself correction. You owe yourself change.
That requires a level of radical introspection that most people spend their entire lives avoiding.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Not at all. It requires shifting your locus of...
Okay, unpack locus of control for us.
Sure. In psychology, locus of control refers to how strongly people believe they have control over the situations and experiences that affect their...
Okay.
So a person with an external locus of control blames outside forces, the economy, their boss, their childhood.
Right.
But a person with an internal locus of control believes they're responsible for their own success or failure.
And in the text, he essentially realizes that he is the greatest common denominator in all of his own failures.
Yeah.
Like everywhere things fell apart, he was standing right there in the center of the wreckage.
And this ties directly into his breakdown of the victim mindset. He uses a very specific metaphor here that really illuminates the danger of an external...
Keys metaphor.
Yes. He talks about the act of blaming someone else, a parent, a partner, an unfair circumstance. He says that when you blame them, you are handing them the keys to...
It's such a visceral image. But I want to pause and look closely at the messenger here.
I think that's important.
Because context changes how a message is received.
Right.
Right. If a CEO who inherited a real estate empire stands on a stage and tells you to stop playing the victim, it rings hollow.
You roll your eyes and tune out.
Exactly. But this text comes from a speaker who details his own incredibly severe background. We are talking about a guy who was a 17-year-old high school dropout.
Right.
He got someone pregnant at a very young age. His biological father was entirely absent. He lived in abandoned buildings.
The baseline for his trauma is severe. He is not speaking from an ivory tower.
Not at all.
And yet, with that background, he is the one arguing that blaming his absent father was actually the easier path.
Yeah, that's why.
Because it's much easier to marinate in justified anger and say, my life is a mess because he left, than it is to do the grueling, unglamorous work of repairing the damage and building a life anyway.
Justified anger is a comfortable blanket.
It really is.
But the text argues it's a trap. Because even if the blame is 100% historically accurate, even if someone did maliciously sabotage you, holding on to that blame means they are still driving the car.
You're just sitting in the passenger seat.
Letting a ghost steer you into ditches, all while yelling, "See? It's their fault we crashed."
And he discusses how this internal state literally shapes the physical world around him.
Yeah.
He mentions that he was experiencing the physical manifestations of his thoughts and emotions. He used to think his impoverished environment was creating his harsh reality, but through this inner work, he realized his internal state was actively filtering and shaping his environment.
So how does that actually work mechanically? I mean, how do thoughts manifest as a physical environment?
Well, it has a lot to do with the reticular activating system, or RAS, in the brain.
The RAS, okay.
Yeah. It's a bundle of nerves at our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information so the important stuff gets through.
Because we can't process everything.
Right. Your brain can't process the millions of bits of sensory data hitting you every second. So the RAS decides what you consciously notice based on what you focus on.
Got it.
So if your internal state is rooted in a victim mindset, if you constantly focus on how unfair the world is, your RAS will literally highlight evidence of unfairness in your environment while filtering out evidence of opportunity.
Like when you buy a red car and suddenly you see red cars everywhere.
Exactly. If you believe people are out to get you, you will misinterpret a neutral comment from a coworker as a...
And then you react defensively.
Right, which then causes them to pull away or act hostile in return, confirming your initial flawed belief.
Wow.
It is a self-fulfilling prophecy orchestrated by your own neurobiology. Taking the keys back means accepting a very harsh truth. Even if it is not your fault that you were pushed into a deep hole, it is entirely your responsibility to climb out.
That is a heavy realization. So for you, the listener, who currently holds the keys to your life.
It's a tough question to answer, honestly.
It is. If you're really honest with yourself, who are you secretly blaming in the back of your mind when things get hard? Is it a former manager who stifled your career?
Or maybe an ex-partner who damaged your confidence?
Because the source material argues that as long as they hold the blame, they dictate your future. You have to walk to the mirror, apologize to yourself for letting them drive for so long, and forcefully take the wheel back.
And what happens when you do that is fascinating.
Right, the paradigm shift.
Yes. Once you take the keys back and calibrate your internal mechanics, your perception of the external world undergoes a massive shift. The text pivots sharply here.
It does.
Once the inner work is addressed, it looks outward. And it argues that the external world is not the impassable obstacle course we often pretend it is.
It's an open field.
An open field of unprecedented leverage.
The speaker launches into this passionate, almost aggressive defense of the opportunities available to us right now, specifically framing it within the context of the American dream. He insists that if you are willing to put in the grind, nothing is impossible. But what makes this section powerful is that he doesn't just offer toxic positivity.
No, he doesn't ignore reality.
Exactly. He doesn't pretend bad things don't happen.
Yeah.
Instead, he acknowledges the obstacles, but he radically recalibrates what a real obstacle actually is.
He establishes a devastatingly clear baseline. He says, yes, there are obstacles, trials, tribulation, roadblocks, but then he brings up his wife.
This part is so intense.
It really is. His wife was diagnosed with a degenerative neurological. He states very clearly that she can never go back.
That part is sobering. He uses her permanent, unchangeable physical reality to dwarf every other solvable problem.
Yeah.
He says, whatever the roadblock is, it is not as deep as my wife with MS. He goes on to say, I don't care what the obstacle is. I will find a way to get through the obstacle to get what I need so she can have what she wants.
And by anchoring his definition of a true obstacle to a degenerative disease, he completely alters the landscape of death.
We really do have a tendency to inflate our inconveniences, don't we?
Oh, constantly. We turn them into insurmountable barriers. A lack of startup funding, a difficult manager, a saturated market, a complicated software deployment.
They feel massive in the moment.
They do. But psychologically, these are solvable puzzles. They require time, capital, or strategy. His wife's condition is an immovable wall. When you juxtapose a solvable puzzle against an immovable wall, the puzzle loses its emotional weight.
It just becomes a math problem waiting to be solved by sheer, relentless effort.
Precisely.
And he amplifies this perspective shift by zooming out even further, looking back through history. He compares the tools we have today with the tools of the past.
This was a great comparison.
He says, I have opportunities that even Martin Luther King himself didn't have. He points out that Dr. King didn't have YouTube. He didn't have Facebook or Instagram or Zoom.
It's a stunning historical juxtaposition. I mean, if you think about the logistical nightmare of organizing the civil rights movement in the 1950s.
Oh, it's unfathomable today.
They relied on mimeograph machines, physical phone trees, handing out flyers in the rain, word of mouth. Information moved at a glacial pace, and doing the work carried incredible physical danger.
And yet, they managed to organize millions and fundamentally change the fabric of society.
Exactly. Now, compare that friction to an entrepreneur today who is deeply frustrated because their algorithmic reach is slightly down on a free global distribution network.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the source text gets highly repetitive here, using this phrase over and over. How dare you?
Yeah, how dare.
How dare you have Facebook, Instagram? How dare you have Zoom? And you still can't make the American dream happen. It is a profound indictment of modern complacency.
It really hits hard.
We treat these miraculous levers of communication like they are boring chores. We complain about Zoom fatigue. Meanwhile, this text is screaming at us that Zoom is a magical portal that allows you to look a potential investor or client in the eye across the globe for $0 and pitch them your idea.
And what he's addressing here is a psychological phenomenon known as hedonic.
Hedonic adaptation, what's that?
So humans are remarkably quick to adapt to new technologies or improved circumstances to the point where miracles quickly become expected baseline.
Oh, right.
A supercomputer in your pocket that can access the sum of human knowledge stops feeling like a miracle within a month. It just becomes a thing that annoys you when the Wi-Fi is.
That is so true.
Overcoming hedonic adaptation requires a radical, aggressive form of gratitude. You have to view these tools not as mundane entitlements, but as historical anomalies that give you unprecedented leverage.
He also uses this section to completely dismantle the excuse of socioeconomic status.
Yes.
We often think, well, if I just had more money or grew up in a different zip code, I'd be successful. But he points out that wealthy kids who grow up in mansions also struggle. They get addicted to drugs, they make terrible decisions, and they fail miserably if their internal mindset isn't activated.
It's a reinforcement of the internal locus of control we talked about earlier.
Yes.
He's arguing that environment is entirely secondary. If you don't activate yourself, the environment, no matter how privileged, does not matter.
Right.
But conversely, if you do activate yours. The modern environment provides enough tools to overcome almost any deficit.
Which brings up a critical question. Knowing the opportunity exists and even possessing aggressive gratitude for the tools is only half the battle.
Sure.
You can stare at a Zoom screen feeling grateful all day, but that doesn't build a business.
No, it doesn't.
And the text doesn't let you off the hook just because your perspective is fixed.
Yeah.
It pivots immediately to a ruthless standard of execution. How do we actually seize these historical opportunities?
The answer the text provides is preparation.
But not just any preparation.
No, it's not a casual read a book once a month kind of preparation. It is a specific, obsessive, relentless type of preparation that occurs in the dark. The source draws a very stark contrast between two types of people: those who wait for an event to begin performing, and professionals who prepare regardless of.
Let's look at the negative example first, the passive approach. He talks about people waiting for the phone to ring. He says, opportunity is not playing Call of Duty with your phone sitting next to you on the couch, just waiting for someone to call and hand you a chance.
That passive stance implies an external locus of control creeping back in.
Yep, giving the keys away again.
Exactly. If you're waiting by the phone, you are waiting for an external authority to anoint you. You are waiting for permission to be successful.
But then he contrasts that with this incredible story about a kid playing soccer. The speaker says this kid calls him and says, I got up today at 5 in the morning and I'm practicing my soccer game.
Now, getting up at 5 a.m. is great.
It is, but the punchline is the absolute core of this philosophy. The kid says, I didn't make the soccer team, but I'm getting up at 5 every morning, practicing as if I made it.
That is the preparation paradox in action.
It's amazing.
See, the vast majority of people operate on a transactional mental model. They think, once I make the team, once I get the promotion to manager, once the VC firm funds my startup, then I will start waking up at 5 a.m.
Then I'll put in the extra hours.
Right. The text argues the exact inverse. The identity and the work must precede the reality.
You have to act like the manager before you get the title.
Exactly. The source states it plainly. I don't want to start practicing on the opportunity. I want to practice before, so when the opportunity comes, I can stroke it.
You need a prerequisite identity.
Right. The kid isn't practicing to make the team. He is practicing because he has already decided he is an elite athlete, regardless of what the current roster says.
I kept thinking of an analogy for this while reading the text. It's like being an understudy in a massive Broadway production.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. Imagine you're the backup for the lead role. For 6 months, the lead actor is perfectly healthy. Every single night, you sit in a tiny dressing room backstage while someone else gets the applause, just waiting. If you are the person playing Call of Duty, you just sit there scrolling on your phone, assuming the lead is never going to get sick, just collecting your paycheck.
And then, on a random Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m., the stage manager bursts into your dressing room and says the lead actor just lost their voice. The curtain goes up in 30 minutes.
You are on.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been rehearsing in your living room, if you haven't been whispering the lines in the wings every single night to an empty theater, you're going to walk out under those bright lights and completely freeze.
You'll ruin the show.
But more importantly, you will ruin your one chance. You have to rehearse to empty rooms. The text says it perfectly. You are who you are in practice when you play. And if you hadn't practiced, then when it's time to play, your play is going to be practiced.
And the psychology behind freezing under the lights is tied to the neurobiology of stress.
Break that down, Ferris.
When a high-stakes opportunity suddenly appears, your sympathetic nervous system spikes.
That's the adrenaline.
Right. If you haven't rigorously prepared through repetitive practice, that spike in adrenaline will overwhelm your prefrontal cortex, your logical brain. You will panic.
You just freeze up entirely.
But if you have practiced in the dark, you have developed myelin around the neural pathways associated with that task.
Myelin?
Yes, myelination acts like insulation on an electrical wire, allowing the signals to travel faster and more efficiently. So when the adrenaline hits, your brain bypasses the panic and relies on the heavily myelinated automatic pathways you built at 5:0 a.m.
So the practice doesn't just make you better at the skill, it literally insulates your brain against the panic of the opportunity.
Precisely. If you aren't prepared, the actual game, the real opportunity just becomes a sloppy practice run. You waste the moment.
Yeah.
The source warns people who are comfortable at their jobs, who think they have forever to get ready. He points out that the landscape can change in an instant. Someone might quit. Someone might get fired. A massive opening will appear in a matter.
And the question is, will you be ready to step into that vacuum immediately? Or will you need 6 months of hand-holding to get up to speed?
Exactly.
So, listener, what is your 5:00 a.m. soccer field right now? What are you practicing for in the dark? Even if you haven't made the team yet, are you developing the leadership skills for the promotion before the position even opens? Are you writing the complex business plan before you even have a single meeting with an investor scheduled?
Because if you wait for the green light to start building the engine, the race will be over before you even reach the starting line.
So true. Now, if the kid practicing soccer in the dark represents the starting line of this dedication, the text doesn't stop there.
No, it goes much further.
It gives us a look at the absolute apex of this mindset. It shifts into a legendary anecdote from the world of professional sports to illustrate what it means to not just prepare, but to demand greatness from yourself and others.
The Kobe Bryant story.
Yes, and it is incredible. The speaker analyzes a famous quote from Kobe explaining why he bluntly refused to pass the ball to a specific teammate during a critical moment in a game.
It's just ruthless.
It is. Kobe's justification, he tells the teammate, "I watch you in film, sleeping, dozing off, not paying attention to coach, on your phone. I saw you in practice."
Kobe is effectively putting his own teammate on trial.
Right on the court.
He's laying out the empirical evidence of their lack of preparation. And the verdict is delivered right there. He says, "What in the world would make you think with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter and we down by 10 to the Boston Celtics, what would make you think I'm about to pass you the rock? Have you lost your mind?"
It's the ultimate rejection of entitlement.
Yeah.
The text asks a piercing question. What makes you think you deserve time just because you made it to the team? We have this flawed assumption that once we pass the interview, once we sign the contract, we're owed equal participation.
But the behavior that gets you onto the roster is not the behavior that wins a championship.
Right. Getting the job is just the entry fee. It doesn't mean you automatically deserve to lead the most important project.
What is fascinating here is how this dismantles the idea of egalitarianism in high-performance environments.
Yeah, explain that.
Well, we like to think that in a team setting, everything should be shared equally.
Everyone gets a turn.
Exactly. But in Kobe's mind, and in the framework of this source text, the ball doesn't belong to the open man. The ball belongs to the prepared man.
Wow.
It is a strict meritocracy based on unseen effort. The speaker recounts how Kobe arrived at the arena before the coach, left after the coach, and outworked everyone when the cameras were on.
And he highlights one specific post-game story that just blew my mind.
Oh, the Miami Heat game.
Yes, the Lakers suffered a devastating loss to the Miami Heat in the regular season. After the game, while his teammates went out partying in South Beach, acting like the loss didn't matter, Kobe stayed in the arena.
He stayed in the arena for 3 hours.
Yes, 3 hours. But the detail that matters most isn't just the time. He didn't just run drills or shoot a bunch of random shots. He shot the exact same shot he had missed during the critical moment of the game.
Over and over.
He shot it over and over again from the exact same spot on the floor for 3 hours because he knew he might have to play them again in the finals, and he refused to let that specific weakness exist.
And that is the physical manifestation of what psychologists call deliberate practice.
Deliberate practice.
Yeah. Deliberate practice is not just working hard or putting in hours. It is working with surgical precision to identify a specific micro weakness and repeating it until the cognitive and physical mechanics are perfectly.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. Most people practice what they are already good at because it feels rewarding.
Right. It boosts your ego.
Exactly. But Kobe spent 3 hours living in the frustration of his failure until it.
And the source transitions from this incredible display of individual will into a broader, almost terrifying metaphor about the fleeting nature of opportunity.
The San Antonio Spurs analogy.
Right. He brings up the Spurs, specifically contrasting a Game 6 versus a Game 7 scenario in the NBA Finals.
He paints a picture of a team that was so close to winning a championship in Game 6 that the officials actually started bringing the championship trophies out to the side of the court.
They were that close.
But they lost focus. They missed the opportunity. And he draws this chilling conclusion. What I discovered is if you don't make it happen in Game 6, it probably won't.
The psychological weight of that observation is massive.
It really is.
Because as a culture, we love to believe in second chances. We love the comforting narrative that if I miss this door, another window will open. We tell ourselves that there's always next year or next quarter.
But the text is forcing us to confront the brutal reality that some windows only open once.
Yeah.
It's about the psychology of momentum. When you have the opponent on the ropes in Game 6, you have the psychological advantage.
Yeah.
If you let them off the hook, the entire dynamic shifts. The opponent gains confidence, the element of surprise is gone, and doubt begins to creep into your own ranks.
So you can't hesitate.
Exactly. If you have the trophy in your sights and you hesitate, if you don't impose your will in that exact moment, the universe does not guarantee you will ever get back to that.
Imposing your will. That is the core directive. He literally says, you cannot afford one more year where you just talk it.
No more king.
Right. You can't afford one more year of drafting plans without executing them. He says, this life is death. You cannot afford to be talking about it no more. You have family members depending on you. You have dreams on the line. You have to step up and impose your will on the situation.
Because success is not a grant that you apply for and passively receive.
It doesn't just show up in the mail.
No, it's not handed out by benevolent forces in the universe to those who simply wish for it. It must be taken. It must be earned.
Fought for.
Yes, fought for against the natural gravity of average tendency. You have to force your desired outcome into reality through undeniable preparation and flawless execution when the window opens.
Okay, I hear all of this, and it is undeniably powerful. The 5 a.m. wake-ups, the 3-hour practice sessions after a loss, the relentless imposition of will, fighting through the cognitive friction of hesitation.
It's a lot.
But let's look at the biology of a human being for a second. How does someone sustain that level of intense, aggressive output for a lifetime without completely burning out? What is the fuel source?
Because running on pure aggression or anger will eventually fry your nervous system.
Right. You can't just be angry all the time.
No, and the source agrees. It concludes that the fuel for a lifetime of this work cannot come from aggression alone. If you're grinding solely to prove a high school teacher wrong or to impress people on the internet, you will inevitably run out of gas.
Because that's external. Right.
Exactly. That is an external locus of motivation. The text argues that sustainable energy comes from a foundation of radical authenticity and an incredibly clear, internally generated.
And he gives a very specific tactile habit for maintaining this vision. He claims that 90% of highly successful people literally write down their dreams and their visions multiple times a day.
Every single day.
Every single day, pen to paper.
And this is a powerful cognitive exercise that directly combats the cognitive load issues we discussed in the first section.
Really? How so?
Well, he defines vision as the ability to see the end before you even get started. He describes how he saw himself getting a GED, then a 4-year degree, then a master's, then a PhD, writing books and doing commercials long before any of it happened.
But why write it down multiple times a day? Why isn't it enough to just have the goal in your head?
Because human memory is fallible and focus degrades under stress. When you physically write a goal down, you are engaging in a process called memory reconsolidation.
Memory reconsolidation, okay.
Yeah. You are forcing your brain to retrieve the concept, articulate it neurologically, and physically manifest it through motor function. Doing this multiple times a day acts as an anchor.
So it keeps you steady.
Right. When you hit a moment of intense fatigue at 2:00 p.m., and your brain starts generating excuses to quit, you don't have to waste cognitive energy trying to remember why you're working so hard.
Because the why is literally written on a piece of paper in front of you.
Exactly. It's constantly refreshed in your working memory. It keeps the prefrontal cortex locked on the target.
It takes the goal out of the abstract, foggy space in your head and forces it into objective reality. And the text connects this clarity of vision directly to the concept of authenticity. He says you have to stop caring about what your parents think, what your friends think, or what people online think.
If we tie this back to the inner work from the beginning of our deep dive, this is the ultimate culmination of taking back the keys.
Yeah.
When you stop acting on the terms of your parents' expectations or society's timeline, you become truly free. The speaker redefines freedom here. People often assume he is free because he has achieved financial wealth, but he explicitly corrects that assumption.
Right.
He says, I'm free now because I'm living life on my terms.
There is this moment in the transcript where he just unapologetically declares his own self-worth. And it is so striking. He says, I woke up one day and realized how dope I was. I woke up one day and realized how sweet I was, how unique I was.
No false humility.
Zero. He isn't shrinking himself to make others comfortable. He argues that the world follows people who know exactly who they are because 90% of the world has no idea who they are.
Most of the world is paralyzed by the fear of judgment.
Totally paralyzed.
We operate in a society obsessed with seeking external validation. We curate our personalities to avoid criticism. The source offers a fascinating psychological secret. People are magnetically attracted to genuine confidence because it is so incredibly rare.
Rare and refreshing.
Exactly. He states clearly that he didn't get to the top of his industry because of high production videos or marketing gimmicks. He got there because he is entirely comfortable with himself in a room. He doesn't need an entourage to validate his existence.
To help build that bulletproof internal narrative, the text suggests a very specific cognitive behavioral technique. He tells the audience to physically write down the word fear. Go to a dictionary, look up all its antonyms, words like faith, confidence, assurance, boldness, and consciously speak those words out loud every single day.
That is a practical application of neuroplasticity.
Changing the brain wiring.
Right. The neurons in your brain wire together based on frequency of use. If your internal monologue is constantly running words associated with anxiety, fear, and hesitation, those neural pathways become superhighways.
You just get stronger and faster.
Yes. But by intentionally substituting the vocabulary of fear with the vocabulary of belief and speaking it aloud, you are actively rewiring the baseline frequency of your brain. You are building new pathways.
And this rewiring builds toward the final, most stark binary presented in the entire text. It is the ultimate choice regarding pain. This is the absolute crescendo of the source material.
How does he frame it?
He starts by acknowledging a universal truth. Everyone is in pain. Wealthy, poor, successful, struggling. He says, we all go through pain. Then he draws a devastating line in the sand. He says that for some of us, we go through pain and we allow it to become our tombstone.
A tombstone?
Yes, it marks the exact place where our dreams died. It becomes the permanent, immovable excuse for why we stopped trying.
And a tombstone is static. It just sits there gathering moss, memorializing something that is gone.
But the alternative, he says the alternative is that the pain becomes a scar. And if it becomes a scar, you live a life of reward.
A scar implies a completely different biological and psychological process.
Healing, right.
It signifies that a wound occurred, it was severe, it caused real agony, and it left a permanent mark. But crucially, the tissue knit itself back together.
It didn't stay open.
Right. In fact, scar tissue is often thicker and more resilient than the original skin. Psychologically, this aligns with the concept of post-traumatic growth. The mind survives the trauma, integrates the experience, and uses the newly built resilience to continue moving forward. A tombstone is a scar is proof
of life. That is incredibly powerful. As we look back at the journey this text has taken us on, it's been a relentless upward climb through human psychology. We started by recognizing that hesitation is not a harmless pause, but an active energy drain, slamming the emergency brakes while redlining the engine.
Right, destroying the internal machinery.
We realized that to fix the engine, we had to do the inner work, looking in the mirror, apologizing to ourselves, and forcefully taking the keys back from anyone we've been blaming.
We then reframed our entire external environment. We learned to look at tools like Zoom and social media not as mundane chores that cause fatigue, but as historical miracles that leaders like MLK never had access to.
We learned that true preparation doesn't happen when the lights are on.
No, it happens in the
Waking up at 5 a.m. to practice for a team we haven't even made yet, building the prerequisite identity.
We looked at the ruthless dedication of Kobe Bryant, realizing that merely making the roster doesn't mean we deserve to take the shot. And that in Game 6 of our own lives, we have to impose our will because the universe does not guarantee a Game 7.
And finally, we grounded all of that aggressive, tactical action in radical authenticity. We explored the neuroscience of writing down our vision multiple times a day, the power of realizing how unique we truly are, and the ultimate choice to refuse to let the pain of our past become the tombstone of our future.
The source leaves us with one incredibly blunt reality check at the very end.
It's quite the sign-off.
It is. He looks at the audience and says, "You're going to die. You're going to die anyway, so do not die on your grandmother's terms or your friend's terms or your parents' terms. Die on your own terms."
It sounds morbid on the surface, but philosophically, it is the ultimate clarion call. In Stoic philosophy, this is known as memento mori. Remember that you must die. Keeping your own mortality at the forefront of your mind isn't meant to depress you. It is designed to liberate you.
It immediately eradicates the fear of embarrassing yourself. If you are going to be dead and gone in 100 years, why are you letting the fear of a stranger's judgment stop you from starting a business or writing a book?
Why are you playing it safe?
Exactly. It strips away all the trivial anxieties.
It's okay.
It demands that you live authentically right now because the clock is running.
It forces absolute urgency into the present moment. So, to you listening, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to mull over. The text states that 90% of successful people write their goals down multiple times a day to maintain their vision, physically putting pen to paper to force their dreams into reality. But here is the truth. Even if you aren't literally holding a pen, your actions are writing something down every single minute of the day.
That is a profound perspective. Every action is a sentence in the narrative.
Look closely at your own daily habits. Look at what you did yesterday, and what you are planning to do the moment this audio stops. What is the unspoken vision that your current daily actions are writing down for you?
Are they writing a story of 5:00 a.m. preparation?
Are they writing a story of taking the keys back and imposing your will? Or are your daily habits writing a story of hesitation, of waiting for the phone to ring and letting a perfectly solvable puzzle become your tombstone?
We may not have a medical x-ray to diagnose human potential, but your daily habits are the closest thing we have to an MRI of your future.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Now get out there, take back the keys, clear your mind, and impose your will on the day.